Hi, folks, and welcome back to Allergic to Stupidity. As I was getting ready to download my last one, which is on June the 2nd, which is a Monday, but it has to do with um, 30 Canadian businesses that are worth spending the money on their product. As I was going to download that, I ran into this, one of these ones I like to laugh at from experience, etc. So it's called, and I'm not a Gen X, I'm a boomer. 15 school lessons Gen X has learned that are completely useless now. Okay. And I looked at these and went, this is humorous. Okay. So here we go. Put my glasses down so the old boomer here can read what she's reading. They are growing up in the 70s and 80s, Generation X sat through countless hours of school lessons that seemed super important at the time. Teachers drilled in the skills to these students' heads, promising they would need them for the rest of their life. Mostly. Fast forward to today, many of these once essential lessons have become outdated as cassette tapes and rotary phones. LOL, my kids, who are Gen X's and the millennials, grew up on a rotary phone. So just different. Okay? Let's look at the first one. Memorizing mathematical formulas. And their logic is that to memorize dozens of formulas for geometry, algebra, trig without using calculators during tests. We've always let the kids use calculators. Students created flashcards and spent hours drilling equations until they could recite them perfectly without memory. And teachers claimed this mental math would be essential since calculators won't always be available in real life. Now, everyone carries powerful calculators in their phone, and most math applications provide built-in formulas and step-by-step solutions automatically. Okay, so if I'm talking grade 11 functions and what the A is and its amplitude and K is the phase shift variable and X is this and Y is that, I can say, yes, we will never use those. The majority of us will never use those in real life. Those people who use it all the time have already got memorized and they know what each of those things meant. Next, memorizing formulas and things like that and historical facts, which for your everyday life, really, why you need them, helps memory. It strengthens memory. Okay. Memorizing formulas like the area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height, or the area of a rectangle is base times length, or width times length. And to find the volume of a rectangular prism is base times height times width, is something we use all the time. And yeah, so we still get to use it. So yeah, some of those formulas, no. But here's a reality check. As long as I taught high school math, which I will consider to be about 15 years, we always gave the kids sheets that had all the formulas written on it because we're not making them memorize. I want to bend their brains. I don't want to break them. And why am I going to memorize 3 different formulas when one works just fine? Pythagorean theorem. My kid works in a warehouse and he uses Pythagorean theorem all the time. And he's going to be 40 this year. Next one that I'm going to laugh at. Memorizing phone numbers. Well, I know that's really easy to say. It's all on your phone. And you're just going to hit your kid's name and that's going to do it. But how many times somebody said, oh, what's so-and-so's phone number? I don't know. And I've even people have called looking for one of my kids and said, I don't know. I FaceTime her all the time. I don't think about it. But being able to rhyme off is so-and-so's number is to your advantage. You know, you're in a hospital, you're in a ambulance, or the police have pulled you over for whatever reason, and you need to call somebody, and they want to do the calling. To your advantage, that you've got at least 2 or 3 memorized. Using card catalog system, I will give you that one no longer exists. Cursive handwriting. Okay, this is teacher pet peeve. Teachers spent months drilling students with perfect cursive letters, claiming their fancy handwriting style was essential for all future communications. They practiced connecting letters smoothly and maintaining consistent slant and spacing between the entire page. Schools treated cursive as a mark of education and sophistication. By the way, they still do that in England. the adults would need in professional settings. Now most people type everything on keyboards or touch screens, making cursive writing feel like an old-fashioned art form that few people can even read properly. Okay, step one. As I teach my evening students, so they're grades 3, 4, 5, cursive writing, you can just see the pride, I can do it. So that, do we need it like we used to before? No, we don't. However, when you're blending a B and an L in cursive writing, and I'm just going to use that as an example, there is a connection that your brain makes between joining those two and the bl sound, or S and an H. As you connect that S and an H and you get shh, it makes the connection in the brain that those two funny shapes connected make shh. But when you write an S and an H, because you're writing them individually, you see that as and a instead of a shh. So it has been proven that learning cursive writing earlier in your life increases the speed at which somebody takes on reading skills. It also, for those who are slightly dyslexic, have visual memory issues, so they don't always remember, but it's not consistently dyslexic. Being able to write a B and recognize, being able to distinguish that from a D, a P versus a Q or a G, trust me, cursive writing helps. This mentality says always has to be faster and easier is better is not right. Okay, next one. Using encyclopedias for research. This one I also agree with, so this is 2 out of these, and it's not anything, but hear me out. By the time something gets published in this kind of encyclopedia, it's outdated because they've researched it, they've backed it up, they've verified it, it's right, and then it has to go to print, and then it has to be published. Right? So that by the time it gets there, it's outdated. So having access to Google, that is a more updated version versus the hardcover, but they're just saying use encyclopedias for research. You can go on and get Britannia encyclopedias. It's an online, it's updated constantly, perpetually. So it's still using encyclopedias for research, and you know that's been verified and backed up by their research department versus somebody's influencing website or YouTube channel, whatever, right? So no hardcover textbook encyclopedias, no, we don't use them anymore, but they're all online. Canadiana, the Histriana, Canadian Histriana, it's literally encyclopedia, but it's only on Canadian history. Balancing a checkbook. Yes, we still need to balance checkbooks. Now, do I have a little checkbook that looks like that? No, I do not. But I have all my stuff sitting here, and I know exactly where my money is, and I know where it's going, and I'm always checking my bank statement. So that's still balancing a checkbook, guys. It's just not this kind of checkbook, as I point to the screen. It's not that kind of checkbook, but it lets you know where your money's going. Yes, we do have to still do that. We still need to manually. Don't assume that there's not going to be mistakes. I've had somebody I know who, because he did always check it or semi-checked it, the local hydro department had, instead of taking $50 off, taken $500 off. And it was like, if he hadn't caught it, he would have just gone through. So how many times do we have financial problems because we're not checking our checkbooks all the time? It's just common sense. So that one I disagree with. Film, photography, and darkroom techniques. That's coming back. People are still enjoy that process, but no, with all the fancy cameras and it being on digital and the rest of it, the one thing I do find is, as I'm sorting my kids' pictures from when they were little and organizing them now that I don't have all of them underfoot and I can actually do this kind of thing, how many pictures am I losing because it's on somebody's camera? Where before, when we had the film, it was printed off, and then I got that hard copy and it's sitting in bins. So pros and cons on that one. Using typewriters, excuse me, what do you think I'm doing? This is my keyboard. And I've watched kids who are literally watching the keyboard as they are typing. It's typing, it's just a different, it's a keyboard instead of good old-fashioned typewriters. And they all sit there and say, how do you do that so fast? I said, because I learned how to type. Even my kids, so my kids are in their 30s, early 40s, they had to learn, and they both can type. Well, I can't speak for the younger two because I haven't seen them, but I know the two older ones that I watched them doing it. It was keyboard skills. They can type better. Okay, reading paper maps. This one I have a problem with. I agree with we have lost the skill because you can just do GPS now to get you from places to places. The problem is that somehow when you have this great big map in front of you and you can see that you're here and you're going there, it gives people, the reader, the person who's following the directions, a greater spatial sense of how far something is to somewhere else. It gives them a greater sense of how far they've gone. So the little Deke is because little Miss Diva wants in the house room. So it's a skill that's being lost, and I wish it wasn't. I think it gives us spatial acuity when we see it on the map. Yeah, this is another one I agree it's gone. And I don't really think it was pushed that much even when I was in high school. So that was shorthand writing. If shorthand writing will have changed for those people who are stenographers, that they can make things quicker. The idea of taking shorthand was if you're in university or college, you can take quick notes, but that's now you can just video tape it. So yes, has it changed? Do we need it like we did before? No, we don't. So there's another one. Operating a slide rule. I'm going to LOL on this one. Laugh out loud. I think they have another one downstairs. This was my dad's. It's actually very interesting to have kids doing this because they get a real hoot out of using it. When they figure out how to use it, they think it's fun. But yeah, that would be another one that, no, we don't really need it anymore. Carbon paper and making coffees. That is basically gone. Thank God. That was messy. Used to have to use it when I first started teaching. However, it's really nice in art projects. If you see a tail, it's Her Royal Highness. Computer class is interesting, introducing students to DOS. While they don't do it anymore, it is helped the kids understand how computer programming worked. And it was to their advantage because they had a better understanding of where now you just go on and you do it. Are you really understanding what's happening? It's like having students memorize their multiplication facts, but not really understanding the multiplication facts, not understanding that it's 6 groups of 7 or a half a group with a quarter of the whole in each group. That so it just, by learning it, even the base level, it helps people understand what's going on. Yeah, she got stuck in the room yesterday, so today she's being phenomenally, annoyingly clingy. Using payphones. Well, I don't think that's a case of we ever talked about how to use payphones. It was just sort of common sense. And yes, it's still to their advantage to be able to use a payphone if you can find one. Because if your phone dies or it's stolen and you need to get hold of somebody, you can literally hit the operator and go for a collect call to somebody else's house so that you can get access to whatever you need to get access to. Yes, and she's beautiful, but she's being very clingy today. Okay, that's it. Related. There you go, guys. I just watched that and thought that was really, really interesting. Or humorous is maybe one of the ones I want to add, is that these skills that somebody has decided we no longer use, we still use them. They may have changed slightly, like the payphone. They still know how to use a payphone. Like it put in your quarter, or put in your 50 cents, or put in your whatever. This is Corby, and she's being a royal fifth this morning. She got lost yesterday, not out of the house. She just got shut in her room, along with her brother got shut in a different room. So she's being a little very clingy today and a little divish. So she's being a monkey. Anyways, take care. I thought it was interesting. It was fun. Take care, guys. See you next time.